Hi guys and welcome to CrazyPeppera Revenge. This channel is all about crazy true stories, stuff that happens in real life when things get a little bit messy, people dealing with drama, cheating, lies, breakups, and even revenge. Some stories are wild, some are emotional, but all of them will keep you watching. If you like real talk and real situations, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stick around. This is CrazyPeppera Revenge, where the stories get spicy.
Here's to family, the kind that doesn't stab you in the back.
I'm 31, project manager at my dad's construction company in Phoenix, earning $85K plus bonuses. Own my house bought pre-marriage, now worth 6 figures more. My wife Elena, 29, is a nurse making $70K. We met when she was in nursing school and seemed focused, ambitious. I thought we were on the same path. Looking back, I overlooked red flags like how she openly flirted with a bartender our first night out. My dad, Roberto, is the classic self-made man. Started in construction at 18, hauling lumber and hammering nails while taking night classes, clawed his way into large-scale commercial builds through sheer effort and discipline. Has zero patience for laziness or excuses. My mom, Nora, couldn't be more opposite. Left her low-level office job early, now fills her time with shopping sprees and gossip while treating my younger brother DK like he's the second coming. DK, now 26, has gotten by purely on charm without doing much of anything. Dad brought him into the business with a basic office role answering phones for $55K yearly, hoping it would motivate him. It didn't. DK walked around acting like the company should be grateful he showed up. Dad tried putting him in the field under scorching Arizona sun, thinking hard work would shape him. DK rarely lasted more than a shift. Meanwhile, I was learning electrical, carpentry, concrete work, drywall. By 20, I was managing housing developments. At 24, I earned promotion based on performance. DK retreated to the office playing executive, flaunting designer clothes and driving a leased BMW like he'd made it. Mom praised DK for showing up on time while I managed million-dollar builds. When I bought my house, DK made snide comments about me being lucky. When I got promoted, he called it nepotism, ignoring the decade I spent earning it. 2 years ago, DK ran into financial trouble. Credit cards, car loans, the usual. Dad loaned him $15K with promise of repayment. DK made a couple payments, then defaulted. More excuses, no accountability. Elena and I worked well together early in marriage. I handled finances and home repairs. She cooked and managed our social life. Sundays were special. Her meals reminded me of my grandmother's kitchen. We had real plans. After our 3rd anniversary, October 2022, we started trying for a baby. She went off the pill, we tracked her cycle, even picked out names. Then, January 2023, Dad landed a huge hospital renovation. 6 months, $2 million. Our biggest job ever, and I was put in charge. Hospital construction is intense. Tight regulations, constant inspections, zero margin for error. I was working long hours, nights, and weekends. At first, Elena supported me, bringing dinner to the site, talking about our future. We planned to use the project bonus to pay off the mortgage and start investing. But then something changed. She started spending more time with Sophia, a fun, outgoing travel nurse. Suddenly, Elena was out 3 or 4 nights weekly, and our routine fell apart. I was too buried in work to realize what was really happening. By February, Elena's schedule got suspicious. She used to work 3 regular shifts weekly. Now she was claiming extra hours, surprise trainings, sudden emergencies. Meanwhile, DK began checking in when I wasn't home, bringing her coffee, fixing things I hadn't gotten to yet. At the time, I thought maybe he was finally growing up, becoming more reliable. I had no idea that while I was running the biggest project of my career, my brother was sleeping with my wife in the house I built for us both. At first, I thought DK's new behavior was growth. He ditched flashy clothes, started showing up on time, even put in extra hours. Dad was starting to believe DK was finally stepping up. When the hospital project wrapped in March, early and under budget, I was ready for things to return to normal. It was a huge win for the company. But coming home, I quickly realized something had changed. Elena was still constantly working late, covering shifts, dealing with sudden emergencies. Except now that I was around more, I noticed strange things. like the $200 she withdrew every Friday. When I asked, she brushed it off as girls' nights. I use cash so I don't overspend. It sounded reasonable until I remembered how we used to track every expense together. Now she was taking out money weekly without saying a word. Then there was her phone, always in her hand, smiling at the screen. But the moment I walked in, she'd lock it or flip it over. I asked who she was always messaging. The answer was always the same: work group chat. Nothing important. By April, I started noticing physical signs too. Elena was throwing up every morning. I asked if she was okay. She blamed a stomach bug at work and told me she was seeing a doctor, but insisted I shouldn't come. She didn't know I had been tracking her cycle ever since we started trying for a baby. She was 3 weeks late. That had never happened before. When I brought it up, her reaction was explosive. "Why are you monitoring my body like I'm some experiment? I can handle myself. Stop trying to control me." Her outrage came out of nowhere, especially considering we'd been tracking everything together for months. At the same time, I noticed something odd about my mom. She stopped calling our house phone and started talking to Elena directly. Their calls were long, whispered, always private, out in the yard, behind closed doors. Once I heard my mom say, "He can't find out," through the bedroom door. My mom and Elena had never been close. Suddenly, they were thick as thieves. One day, I walked into the kitchen while they were on speakerphone. My mother's tone immediately shifted. "Oh, Kevin's home, we'll talk later," she said and hung up. That moment flipped a switch in me. I started paying attention to everything. Elena's hospital stories stopped making sense. She'd claim she worked a 12-hour trauma shift, but she'd come home looking fresh. No crimson, no antiseptic smell. No exhaustion. It didn't add up. Then one Tuesday in April, my truck broke down and I caught a ride home with one of my foremen. I walked in around 2 p.m., 5 hours earlier than usual, and heard laughter. Elena was laughing in a way I hadn't heard in months. I rounded the corner and found her sitting far too close to DK on the couch. Their posture screamed closeness. When they noticed me, they jumped apart like guilty teenagers. Elena's face went pale. "What are you doing home?" DK fumbled, spilling his coffee. "I was just in the neighborhood. Thought she might need company." He handed me coffee, trying to play it off as thoughtful. I didn't say a word. But inside, I was burning. That night, I couldn't sleep. My gut told me the truth was right in front of me. Her erratic hours, the hidden calls, the pregnancy symptoms, DK suddenly playing concerned brother-in-law. It was all starting to make sense. The next morning, I dug in. I checked DK's company truck records. We tracked every vehicle through GPS. Over the past few months, his logs showed him visiting our neighborhood repeatedly during my work hours. And places like upscale restaurants and hotels in Scottsdale, none of it tied to any projects. Then, I pulled up our shared calendar. The overlap was immediate and undeniable. Every time DK's truck appeared somewhere suspicious, Elena's schedule suddenly changed too. Extra shifts, last-minute calls from the hospital, emergencies that couldn't wait. I didn't stop there. I dug into our joint bank account going back 4 full months. The pattern was impossible to ignore. Every Friday, she withdrew exactly $200 in cash. And now, I noticed payments to luxury restaurants and boutique hotels in Scottsdale on days she claimed to be pulling doubles at the hospital. $180 at Fleming's on a Wednesday. $220 at the Four Seasons for tea on a Thursday when she said she had training. $95 for brunch at a hotel bistro on a Sunday she supposedly covered a sick colleague's shift. To confirm my suspicions, I called her hospital. I posed as a relative with an urgent family emergency and asked to be transferred to Elena's department. The front desk nurse politely told me Elena wasn't on shift and hadn't been for 3 days. It was a Wednesday. Elena had told me she'd just worked a 12-hour Tuesday and was heading in again that evening. That was the moment the veil lifted. Next day, I faked being sick and checked our shared computer once she left. Found months of emails between Elena and my mother. My mom wasn't just enabling the affair, she was orchestrating it, suggesting excuses, offering her house when Dad had meetings, coaching Elena on what lies to tell me. The worst part, when Elena confirmed she was pregnant, my mother's response was vile. "Doesn't matter. Let Kevin think it's his. DK isn't ready for a child. Kevin has the job, house, stability. This works out best for everyone." I copied everything, called my dad immediately. 20 minutes later, I was in his office showing him the evidence. His response was ice cold. "This is war." We met with our attorney Marcus, who confirmed I could protect all my assets since the house was premarital, and I had ironclad evidence. I moved $95K from joint savings to my personal account, shut down joint credit cards, secured my investments. Dad stripped DK of all company access, no truck, no badge, no credit card. We planned the perfect trap. Saturday family dinner at my house. Dad told everyone I had big news worth celebrating. Elena was nervous all day, asking what the announcement was. I made my signature tri-tip roast, acting completely normal. When everyone arrived, DK strutted in with his usual smug grin. "Don't tell me Elena's finally knocked up. Took you long enough." He thought he'd won. After dinner, I stood up and handed Elena an envelope. "I do have something to share. These are divorce papers." The room went dead silent. I gave Dad the second envelope with all the evidence. "Emails between your wife and mine. Months of messages planning an affair. Mom's been helping cover it up." DK jumped up, screaming about illegal snooping. "That's what you're worried about?" "Not screwing my wife," Elena tried to explain, but I cut her off. "We're done." Dad read Mom's instructions about timing lies with his golf schedule. When Mom tried to grab the papers, he yanked them away. "Nora, what is this?" She stammered about protecting the family. DK actually laughed. "Kevin works 70 hours a week. Elena needed attention. I just filled the gaps." I snapped, came around the table and broke his nose with one punch. Crimson red splattered his designer shirt as he crashed into the china cabinet. Dad stood up, 1 inch and 200 pounds of fury. "Get him out, you're fired. Cut off. No longer my concern." Mom gasped, "He's your child." Dad replied coldly, "Kevin is my son." DK proved blood doesn't mean anything when you betray family. I handed Dad a $15K check, the exact amount he'd loaned DK. "You deserve better." Elena tried the last desperate play. "The baby could be yours. Then we'll test, but it doesn't change anything. We're finished." I told her to pack and get out by tomorrow. The divorce was swift. DNA confirmed the baby wasn't mine. Elena got her clothes, her Honda, nothing else. She moved in with Sophia, who kicked her out after 6 weeks when Elena became unbearable. Dad followed through completely. DK was blacklisted across Phoenix construction. No more BMW, credit cards, or handouts. 3 weeks later, he got arrested for driving suspended license with no insurance. Dad refused to bail him out, but Dad's real masterpiece was handling Mom. Financial audit revealed she'd been secretly giving DK $3K monthly, even taking a second mortgage behind Dad's back. Dad filed for divorce at 58. Mom lost everything. Ended up working retail at Target for $12/hour. DK moved in with her in a crappy apartment. Few months ago, they showed up begging me to claim Elena's daughter as mine, pay child support, help with DK's legal bills. We're still family. You need to be the bigger person. I had them removed by police. 8 months later, life is incredible. Dad made me 40% business partner. We're expanding to commercial development in Tucson and Vegas. I'm dating Sarah, an architect. Everything Elena wasn't. Driven, independent, doesn't need rescuing. DK's burned through 4 jobs in 8 months, still entitled and unemployable. Elena made a public plea for money on social media that backfired when people who knew the truth destroyed her in comments. Mom keeps trying to contact Dad through friends, but his message never changes. You chose to destroy Kevin's marriage. Live with what you chose. The sweetest justice isn't revenge. It's watching their worlds collapse while mine flourishes. DK on minimum wage, Elena drowning in her mess, Mom answering to people she used to look down on. When people show you who they really are, believe them. Family isn't DNA, it's loyalty when it counts.